Hello and welcome to Business 7. Tonight is a very special program for me personally, and I think for the entire Business 7 Market Watch Namibia Media Holdings. Yesterday, my colleague on the financial desk, Phillepus Uusiku, received his master's degree in economics, and I have him as a guest in this show. We're going to talk about his early years, his journey to where he is at the moment, an extremely promising and emerging voice in financial journalism, and also what his master's degree focused on. Of course, as always, we'll also take a look at what is happening on the African continent. Please stay tuned. This is a special program.
Connection. It's in the human touch, the feeling of belonging. It inspires us and empowers us, creates clarity from complexity. It starts new conversations, unlocks the power of advice, and makes an impact on your life. At Alex Forbes, we pioneer insight to provide you with advice that connects your decisions of today to your impact tomorrow.
To get the ball rolling, let's take a look at the 5 top business stories in Africa over the past week.
Here's what's been making the business headlines in sub-Saharan Africa this week. South Africa's RCL Foods said on Thursday that its poultry unit Rainbow had culled 410,000 chickens due to the country's worst outbreak of avian flu. That's heightened fears of chicken and egg shortages. On Wednesday, neighbouring Namibia suspended all imports of live poultry, birds and poultry products from South Africa. Kenya's struggle with a heavy debt load and pressure on its hard currency reserves is not unique, its finance minister said on Wednesday. Juguna Ndungu was responding to a JP Morgan research note that said Kenya was walking a tightrope to avoid a crisis, due to a maturing dollar bond and persistent currency weakness. One of Nigeria's main oil and gas unions will join a nationwide strike next week to protest against government policies that are causing economic hardship, its leaders said on Thursday. President Bola Tinubu's economic policies, including scrapping a popular petrol subsidy, have cheered investors, but unions say they've led to soaring costs for Nigerians. Botswana's government has said it's reassessing a deal with HB Antwerp in which it would have bought a 24% stake in the latter and supplied it with an undisclosed quantity of rough diamonds for 5 years. That's after Canadian diamond mining company Lucara Diamond said it was terminating its sales agreement with the Belgian gem trader, citing a material breach of financial commitments. HB did not immediately respond to requests for comment. And finally, Tanzania's NMB Bank said on Monday that it's launching a 10-year multi-currency medium-term bond of 1 trillion Tanzanian shillings, or $400 million, under a Green Bonds initiative. NMB said cash raised from the climate finance scheme would be used for environmental and social projects, without providing further details.
Well, our guest tonight is somebody that you know very well. It's Phillepus Uusiku. He's basically the face of Namibia Media Holdings' Market Watch, and often a co-presenter on Business 7, and also helps out with Business 7 and everything else that goes around at the financial desk here at our group. Phillepus, thank you very much for joining us. The reason we have him here is I've never had the honor of doing this, so I am extremely proud to be able to have you as a guest, because yesterday you received your master's degree in economics. Well done.
Thank you very much.
Phillepus, we've been working together a few years now, and I saw the dedication and the hard work that you've put in after hours while basically running Market Watch, and particularly towards the end, the pressure piled up. How did it feel yesterday when you finally held that degree?
It felt really great, considering the time it took for me to obtain the degree. And yeah, like you said, I really want to thank you in particular and NMH as a whole for having created a conducive environment for me to work while completing my studies at the same time.
Well, that's the whole idea, is that one creates the space for young people to develop. But let's take a look at the moment this all happened.
Uusiku, Phillepus, I thank you.
Faculty of Commerce, Management Law, Namibia Business School, Acting Deputy Director, Dr. Chiweto.
I'm not going to do the politically incorrect thing by asking you how old you are, but you are a very young man still. So what a journey to be able to achieve a master's degree at such an early age. Philip, I want us to talk about your journey, and while we're going to do this, Facebook is not your best friend. I snooped around on Phillepus's Facebook page, so we've got some pictures of him as a young boy and going through school to where he eventually ended up yesterday. Phillepus, tell us about your early years.
Yeah, I'm originally from the northern part of Namibia, Oshana region to be specific. Grew up on a small village a few kilometers from Ondangwa called Heke with both my parents, who happen to be both, they are all both trained teachers. So yeah, I started my primary education at Ondangwa Prof Primary School. I then moved to Norway Primary School in Okahanja, where I completed my primary phase. For my secondary phase, I attended Korab Secondary School in Otavi, where I matriculated in 2013. In 2014, I then enrolled for my bachelor's in economics at the University of Namibia, where I graduated in 2018. Immediately after graduating, during the course of the year, I enrolled for my master's in economics at the very same university, which was in collaboration with the African Economic Research Consortium. Yeah, the journey was really amazing, and yeah, here we are today.
Here we are indeed, and as I'm sure you've noticed in those photographs, there are quite a few Dux pupil awards too. So it's a very clever young man I have the privilege of working with. Phillepus, you mentioned that your parents are teachers, and I've personally seen this working with you. Are you a very structured, very dedicated person when it comes to studying, etc.?
When I was in primary school, I had a big passion for football, but when we go shopping, I would tell my mom that I want soccer boots, and maybe she would not have enough money, so she would say, so you choose between sneakers and soccer boots. And obviously you cannot go to school without sneakers, because I was almost in boarding school my whole life. So like I said, they are trained teachers, they know how to motivate, and yeah, they've been really supportive, and they've been encouraging us, and when I say us, me and my siblings, to really take school seriously and just to excel.
Where did the love for economics come from? Because, I mean, let's face it, most people out there find it either extremely boring or very intimidating.
Yes, economics is really a complex field, and it's also a very quantitative field. So yeah, I think my passion, I'm really inspired by my brother, who happens to be an economist as well, Phillepus Uusiku. When I was completing grade 12, that was when his professional career was kicking off, and he was inspiring me, and I was like, why not? And I gave it a shot, and here we are today.
Fell in love with it. Yeah, I know the feeling. It's interesting you say France, obviously also an economist, a very well-known economist in the country. Now that you have your master's degree, do you guys sometimes differ from each other when it comes to talking about economics?
Yeah, I mean, every economist will have his or her own opinions. Yeah, so we will differ, we will interpret things differently, but no one is wrong for as long as you can justify. Yeah, so obviously economists, even economists in the market differ. So
very much so.
Yeah. So it's really normal, and yeah, but that's what makes everything great.
Great, it makes it vibrant, and also the more different opinions we have, the better the chance that we can actually come to the most suitable solution. Cool. So it's great. For young people looking at this program, it's particularly inspiring that such a young person worked yourself up. I mean, even at NMH, and this is one of the things I'd love to share with our watchers. When Phillepus applied to join me on the financial desk, and apparently I'm not a very easy person to work with, I hear. Anyway, we interviewed him, and it was a panel, and I immediately realized that this was the guy. This was the colleague I wanted for the Market Watch desk. But I also realized that you were hopelessly overqualified for the position we were advertising, and you actually joined NMH as an intern with those tertiary qualifications, and I was just amazed. Well, my breath was taken away because you were willing to work for an extremely low salary and go through the steps. How important is it that young people realize that, you have to start at the bottom?
Yeah, it has been a really amazing journey. Yeah, like you said, I joined NMH as an intern. I thought I knew it all until I joined, and I realized I actually know nothing.
We learn every day.
I remember joining, you gave me a report, you said I should write a story. I didn't even know where to start. Yeah, but that's the beauty of it, and I worked myself up. I think I worked so hard to earn your trust, to earn the management's trust, and here I am, and I don't know, NMH is an institution full of opportunities, and
You're certainly going there. It's an inside joke at the company that Phillepus is very quickly working me out of a job because of the absolute dedication and progress that he constantly displays. Tell us a little bit about your master's degree. What did you focus on?
Yeah, so I consider myself as a public sector and monetary economist, and that's what I've specialized in. Like I said, it was a collaborative program with the African Economic Research Consortium, and those are the two areas that I've really focused on. But before that, it was just general economics, micro, macro. The basic modules of economics, yeah.
And I've few regular readers of Market Watch, which I'm sure you are. I can see your love for monetary policy coming to the front, and lately becoming opinionated and taking a stand, which is what all great reporters should be doing, because you sort of see between the lines and connect the dots. And yes, monetary policy is definitely your area.
Yeah, true, because when you interviewed me, I remember you said, as a reporter, you should be able to write stories in layman's terms, so that the public out there can understand and make informed business decisions. So really, for my role there is really just to break down technical terms for the audience, and just write it in simple terms so that they can be able to make informed business decisions.
Phillepus, you have a BA in economics when you entered the labor force, now of course a master's. Quite frankly, the world is your oyster. Why did you choose journalism?
I think it's the first opportunity I got, yeah, I think it's also the passion. I'm very passionate about writing, and when I joined, I started loving the job, and there's this norm out there that journalism is not a good paying job, but if you get into the system in some instances, you would realize that that is not the case, especially here where we work, the biggest media media house in the country. So it's really the passion, and it's about employment.
It very much is, and like you've said, the thing with journalism is persistence. So once you get into the system, it takes a lot of dedication, a hell of a lot of hard work, consistency, etc. But then you become a rather indispensable, this is my right hand person, my pillar at the financial desk. I couldn't do this without you. Thank you very much. On a personal note, from me, thank you for joining us in the studio. Go and celebrate. You have so much to be proud of.
Thank you, Joe.
Let me show you something.
Don't worry. Next time, I check nice.
Thanks, but it's okay. FNB Insurance checks nicer.
At FNB Insurance, we provide cover for all your valuables. From your phone, to your laptop, to your car. FNB Insurance. You value it, we cover it. T's and C's apply.
Nigeria, one of the powerhouses in Africa, had huge ideas and plans for an economic overhaul, but it seems like these reforms might be coming unstuck. Reuters has unpacked this entire issue.
After taking office in May, Nigerian President Bola Tinubu enacted a lightning-fast reform push. Hopes were high of a business-friendly antidote to mounting troubles in Africa's biggest economy. But fast forward more than 100 days and key planks of Tinubu's economic overhaul are coming loose. During his inauguration, Tinubu ended forex restrictions and scrapped a popular but costly fuel subsidy. Last week, however, the naira currency hit a record low of 1,000 to the dollar on the black market, widening the gap with the official rate. Meanwhile, petrol prices haven't budged since July, despite a more than 30% rise in oil prices. Nigeria has for years tightly controlled the official naira rate, but providing dollars at an artificially low rate led to a yawning gap between official and black market rates that left businesses unable to access dollars. Tinubu let the naira weaken. That saw it briefly converge with the black market and prompted assurances from Tinubu that investors could take out their money. But David Omojomolo, Africa economist at research firm Capital Economics, says momentum now seems to be almost in reverse.
I think there was an initial period of kind of optimism as the Naira and black market rates kind of converged with one another. And then since around July, they've widened.
The gap between the official and black market rates has widened to nearly 30%. Sources say it's virtually impossible to get dollars from the central bank on an ad hoc basis. And for entrepreneurs like fabric importer Cassandra Obi, forex shifts are cutting into her profits. She says the Naira is now over 1,000 to the dollar and was 970 the week before.
I cannot pay 970 Naira, meaning the goods will be very, very expensive and we're going to slash our profits, the little profit we're making. Okay, let me wait till when the dollar reduced to maybe 800 Naira, without knowing that the dollar is still going to increase again. Like, as the day goes by, it keeps increasing.
Meanwhile, investors are being put off deploying their money in Nigeria. One major factor is a nearly $7 billion backlog in foreign exchange demand. Foreign airlines alone have $783 million in ticket sales trapped in the country, the International Air Transport Association said. The tattered finances left by the previous administration have not helped. JP Morgan calculated that net FX reserves stood at $3.7 billion at the end of 2022, significantly lower than previous estimates. And the dollar crunch is being exacerbated by a delay in scrapping fuel subsidies. Though it's Africa's largest oil exporter, a lack of refining capacity means Nigeria imports nearly all its fuel. And that's expensive. Subsidies cost 2% of GDP last year, according to Fitch. But amid rising anger and industrial action over the escalating cost of living, analysts say Tinubu lacks the social capital to push harder. Now, some fear that despite early promise, Tinubu will be unable to win Nigeria off the costly policies that have stymied investment and economic growth.
The South African power utility Eskom remains in the news, and it's hardly ever good news. This time it seems to be in trouble because of what it is doing in terms of pollution. This report by Reuters.
South Africa's Eskom has been polluting more as it pushes aging coal-fired facilities to their limits amid a power crisis. That's according to a Reuters analysis of the state utilities data. It showed that 4 out of its 15 power plants are breaching government emissions regulations designed to protect people's health. Eskom officials have confirmed the violations but said making the plants compliant would take time. They also said it could undermine efforts to address South Africa's worst power crisis on record. For the past 18 months, daily scheduled blackouts have left most South Africans without power for up to 10 hours a day. Some 80% of South Africa's electricity is generated from burning coal. But over the past 4 decades, Eskom has achieved a 75% reduction in emissions of particulate matter, that's largely ash and soot, through a program of plant upgrades. Now that trend is being reversed. With power cuts expected to knock 2 percentage points off economic growth this year, Eskom's senior environment manager Deidre Herbst said plants were having to be run harder with upgrades delayed. There is sometimes a trade-off made, she said. Company-wide, Eskom's particulate emissions last year were at their worst levels since the early 1990s, according to an internal Eskom presentation. The 4 plants breaching regulations, Matimba, Matla, Kendal and Creel, account for more than a third of Eskom's total capacity, but 2 were emitting more than double the permitted limit of particulate matter in February, the most recent month of available data. The 35-year-old Kendall Power Station emitted an average of between 10 and 30 times the permissible limit. And it is the poor who are put most at risk. 3 of the 4 violating facilities are located in the Mpumalanga province coal belt. It is among South Africa's poorest regions, with nearly half the workforce unemployed. An unpublished government study found that more than 5,000 have died there annually due to the government's failure to fully enforce its own air quality standards. The Environment Ministry did not respond to Reuters' questions about the emissions violations. Thomas Mnguni, a Mpumalanga community activist, said poor communities living near Eskom plants and coal mines were hit the hardest. We will not accept the thinking, he said, that because of load shedding, Eskom can pollute as much as they want.
Inflation and interest rate are very topical issues, not only in Africa, but also globally. Let's take a look at what is happening in Ghana.
Ghana's central bank held its main interest rate at 30% on Monday, following several days of anti-government protests driven by anger over economic hardship. The West African cocoa, gold and oil producer has been grappling with its worst economic crisis in a generation. That's been characterized by double-digit inflation and ballooning public debt. However, Bank of Ghana Governor Ernest Addison said on Monday that the policy mix under a $3 billion International Monetary Fund support package approved earlier this year was beginning to yield results. He said economic activity has rebounded strongly, the exchange rate is stabilizing, inflation is declining, and that the level of foreign exchange reserves had improved. But Ghanaians like Romeo, protesting in the capital Accra on Saturday, say they are struggling to get by.
The average Ghanaian can't afford a 3 square meal. This is very, very dangerous to the whole country.
Inflation slowed to 40.1% on a year-on-year basis from 43.1% the previous month. That was, however, still well above the central bank's target of 6 to 10%.
Every day, you make choices that make you legendary. Journey together with us on the path to securing your legacy as a member of the League of Legends. With the Select Platinum Bundle Fee Premium Bank offering, you will access tools that will enable you to thrive. If you earn 850,000 Namibian dollars per annum or more, you can apply for this offering today via bankvinted.com.na for only 447 Namibian dollars per month. Bank Vinted, a member of Capricorn Group.
Thank you for joining us for this edition of Business 7. I hope it was as special to you as it was to me. We're seeing you again next time. For this week, take care.